In this video, we're going to talk about how to make your ex feel instantly connected with you. And this is extremely important, obviously, if you want to get back together with your ex, because if they don't feel connected to you, if they don't see a future with you, then they're not going to want to get back together with you. Okay, but first, before we go ahead and get into all of this, my name is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you, of course, deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, help me out with this YouTube channel. Give this YouTube channel a bit of a boost, a bit of a lift, by hitting that thumbs up button and by subscribing to this channel so that you can also get notified when we publish and upload new videos. When you hit the thumbs up button, you help us out with the YouTube algorithm. You send a message to the algorithm that these videos are all right and that, they might want to think about showing them to other people so that a guy can get helped out with his YouTube channel a little bit. It's free. If you get value from this channel, help me out, please. Also, we are talking about obviously connecting emotionally with your ex. If you do want some additional help with that beyond what we're talking about in this video, you may be interested in our course called the Ex Solution Program. This specifically goes through how to create an emotional connection with your ex, how to monitor where your ex is at in their own emotional journey towards wanting to trust you again, and how to actually, develop this deep emotional connection with them that goes beyond anything that they're probably able to get with anyone else out there, any rebound relationship that they're in or anything like that. So information on the Ex Solution Program is available down below. If you want to check it out, feel free to sign up. If not, no worries. Sit back and enjoy the show. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So when I'm having a coaching call with someone, one of the topics that we usually end up talking about, probably like 80 or 90% of the time, is this whole idea about creating an emotional connection. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So when you have an emotional connection with someone, you're probably connecting with them in beyond just a surface level sort of fashion. Now, don't get me wrong, you can absolutely have meaningful connections with people through surface level conversations. If you're able to, talk about how you both went to the same school, or how you both like the same sports team, or how you both like the same video game, or how you both grew up in the same hometown or something like that. Yeah, you can absolutely connect with someone. But if you don't have these specific things in common, the emotional connection can be much, much, much more difficult. So what we want to do is we want to be able to shift from a surface level communication, surface level connection, down to an emotional level of connection, okay? Because as different and as varied as all of our life experiences are, there is one common denominator that we all share, which is, of course, how we feel, our emotional connection that we have with our experience. We've probably all had very, very different life experiences, some for better, some for worse. But underneath all of it, we've all felt probably the same emotions. At some point in time, we've all felt sad, we've all felt hopeful, we've all felt frustrated, we've all felt angry, we've all felt overjoyed. And this is definitely true with you and your ex. And so it's definitely possible to be able to create an emotional connection through the shared emotional experience rather than grasping at conversation starters, surface level things, TV shows, little, memes or something like that. But you can actually go down to the emotional level directly. So what you're probably going to want to do is start a conversation off, probably with some kind of surface level thing. That's how most people start a conversation, some kind of small talk, something about like, oh, hey, did you see this thing in the news or something like that. But then you want to quickly shift that down from talking about the object, the person, place, or thing, or event, or whatever, and you're going to want to talk about your experience with that. And this is going to be important because it's going to demonstrate to them that you're willing to actually have an emotional conversation. You're willing to actually talk about something substantial, because the last thing someone wants is to open up, pour their heart out, and then someone to just be like, oh, hey, I just wanted you to say, hey, I'm doing fine. I didn't want to hear your whole life story. I didn't want to hear how this whole day's been going for you. I just wanted to, tick the box and find out you're doing fine, thanks, and move on, right? And so what can happen is as you start to invest, a little bit, reasonable amount, given what the connection is like between you and your ex, but as you start to invest you're showing them that you are committed to the conversation. You're showing them that you are committed to actually engaging with them in a significant way. And this is going to welcome them to actually open up and start to engage with you emotionally as well too. And so that is, of course, an important component in all of this. You're leading by example, leading with vulnerability. And then what you want to do is you want to turn it back to them. So you might say something like, well, what was that like for you? How did that make you feel? What are your thoughts on that thing that happened, on that event that happened at work today, or whatever the two of you are talking about, whatever the surface level thing is. And what you want to do at this point is you want to listen for the emotional content about what they're going to tell you. Now, sometimes they're going to tell it to you nice and easy. They're going to say, oh, I was so frustrated when this happened. I was so angry when this happened. I was so sad. I was so shocked when this happened. But most likely, they're just going to tell you some more details about it. They're just going to be like, well, I went in and then I talked to the guy and, you wouldn't believe what he said. He said this and then I had to do this on top of it. And I was like, whoa, I have to do all of these things? This totally doesn't make sense. It's not fair or whatever. And so you have to listen to that and kind of piece it together what emotion you think they might be experiencing. So in that totally hypothetical tirade I just went on, you might say, okay, that person might be experiencing a sense of frustration. That person might be experiencing some sense of anger or something like that. And then what you want to do is you want to say, at this point, you're just kind of thinking this in your mind. You're just sort of saying like, okay, there's frustration in that experience. There's frustration in that conversation. And you're just logging that in your mind and you're saying like, okay, now I can go ahead and meet them where they're at emotionally. So I can say, hey, yeah, I can totally relate to that. Something similar to that happened to me. I was in a situation where I felt the same way. And then you can go ahead and start to share that shared emotional experience that the two of you have, okay? Now, the circumstances of the event that caused you to feel frustrated might be totally different. That's totally fine. That's totally normal. Again, we're not trying to connect at the surface level. We're trying to connect at the emotional level underneath. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to meet them where they're emotionally, but we can also tell some of the surface level circumstances and story that caused us to actually have that experience. And then what we also want to do is we want to reward them for actually opening up and sharing something, right? Because they admittedly were a little bit vulnerable by opening up and sharing their experience with, whatever it was. So I want to reward them for doing that so that they feel good about continuing to open up to us. And through this relate and reward experience, we're actually kind of creating the beginnings of an emotional bond. And so what you want to do is you want to continue to do this to continue to build that emotional connection. And what this is going to do is going to actually cause the two of you to feel a very, very strong sense of rapport, a very, very strong sense of emotional connection with one another after you do this a couple of times. And this is actually a very powerful thing. Now, obviously, this should feel good just in and of itself, just being emotionally connected with someone, just feeling like the two of you are vibing together, like the two of you are having this shared emotional experience. That should feel good in and of itself. And you can absolutely just enjoy it for feeling good in and of itself. But this is also an excellent place where you can start to have more substantial conversations about anything that needs to be brought up between the two of you. Something about maybe what happened in your relationship or some sort of, elephant in the room kind of conversation that you need to have. Or you can even have a big ask here, like asking them to meet up or asking them for something else that might be a little bit more heavier that you don't just want to come at them out of the blue with, like, hey, it's been a month. Let's get back together, right? You don't want to do that because theoretically it could work, but you don't know where they're going to be at emotionally, and it's probably not going to land so well. But if you have this emotional context of rapport in place, then you can actually ask for things in a much more deeper way that are probably going to get received much more positively than if you were to just ask out of the blue. Okay, so anyway, that is how you actually create a very strong emotional connection with your ex. This is what I would recommend most people do when they want to create a stronger emotional connection. And of course, there's lots of nuance to this. There's all sorts of possibilities like, hey, if they respond this way, then you might think about doing this instead. Or if they don't respond positively to this, you might try this other approach or something like that. But, that's the broad strokes approach on how you do all of this. So if you found this helpful, once again, please hit that thumbs up button for this YouTube channel. If you like this type of video, please also subscribe to the channel as well too. And if you did want to kind of take this to the next level and a little bit more about emotional connection, we of course do have our course called the X Solution Program. You can find that right down below this video. Feel free to check it out in the description box. If it's right for you, you're more than welcome to sign up. If not, no worries. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you do want to learn more about connecting emotionally with your ex, we do have this video series on what we call advanced relational skills right over here, or you might want to check out this video right here. But once again, my name is Clay. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time.